Hello, welcome to Count the Bucket. With your host, Zach Kautz. Let's get this money.
Alright. Welcome back to another episode of Count the Bucket. I am your host, Zach Kautz, joined as always by my brother, Bennett Kautz BK. What is going on, man?
What up, bro? How we doing?
We're doing alright, man. NBA Finals are underway. Series tied, game apiece. Real quick, we'll just glance over game one. I mean, Toronto came out. They did what they're supposed to do. They played with that energy that you'd expect from an electric crowd like they had in Toronto. Controlled the paint, controlled the glass. The bench played well. Pascal Siakam had, one of the best games of his career, in transition. Kyle Lowry taking charges. Looking very, very good. Game one, it was a very convincing win. Golden State hung around, but for the most part, Toronto seemed to be in control for the most part. And then the dreaded game two. Man, it was looking early on like it was going to be a lot like game one, Golden State shifted their starting lineup. They put in DeMarcus Cousins in the starting lineup for the first time. Obviously to try and balance probably the way that Mark and Pascal played in game one. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it worked. DeMarcus had a pretty good game, nothing special. Like a lot of people are kind of making it out like he had such a huge impact. I mean, he did what he's supposed to do. Scored a couple buckets, was on the boards, played good defense, passed the ball well. That's what you expect. Yeah. But then the freaking third quarter Golden State Warriors actually showed up. I read a stat, counting the bucket that Steph made at the end of the first half into the third quarter, the Golden State Warriors scored 20 unanswered points.
Yeah, I saw that too.
In a row. The largest run in an NBA Finals game since the NBA-ABA merger. So you cannot have that happen in an NBA Finals game. Mm-hmm. No excuse on the Raptors' part. They looked like I don't understand. Like, were they shocked? Like their energy was gone. They got away from what they were doing so well, attacking the paint with their big men. Marc Gasol was non-existent. The refs were okay. Kyle Lowry and a couple of the other guys on the Raptors were in some early foul trouble. I want to say Lowry picked up his fourth pretty early in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. And then to make it all worse, the last 5-6 minutes of the game when Golden State was holding a lead, there were so many chances for Toronto to make one. I mean, we were sitting here in 3 or 4 good open looks at three, and they just couldn't knock it down. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even still, they were down 2 with about 28 seconds left on the clock. Toronto starts sending crazy double teams at the Warriors. It looked like Toronto, they didn't really know what they were going to do. They didn't really want to foul right away. They were going for a steal. Mm-hmm. The sequence opens up where Kawhi almost steals this pass as it's going to Sean Livingston. Sean Livingston kind of goes to the ball, which, man, we know like how many kids don't do that in freaking basketball nowadays. Just go to the ball. He goes to the ball. Finds his boy Andre Iguodala wide open because obviously Toronto was scrambling, trying to double. And with about 7 seconds left on the game clock, 3 or 4 on the shot clock, Iguodala pulls up for 3 and drains it.
No one on him. Yeah.
Shot by one of the greater players on these Warriors teams with a lot of experience, and he hits the dagger, and that was it. I mean, to me, it was just a sloppy game. The refs made it super, super tight, so there was a lot of free throws. It was slow. No team could really get into a rhythm. But yeah, I mean, if you're the Warriors, you're ecstatic because you don't have KD. You have kind of probably like an 80% DeMarcus Cousins. Klay Thompson left that game, in the third quarter? Mm-hmm. Left that game, so no Klay the rest of that game. And Kevin Looney, we just found out, broke a bone in his collarbone.
Yeah, he's out.
He was out that game and out for the rest of the finals. So, man, like if you're the Warriors, you're ecstatic with that. And if you're the Raptors now, you just got to go do what Golden State did, go into Oakland and get a split.
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, there's not much else to be said. I'll give my thoughts more on kind of, what the Raptors kind of got, were doing weirdly in Game 2 that I thought Game 1 they did so well. But yeah, give me your thoughts so far on the series. I know you have a lot of strong feelings towards the Golden State Warriors, but you got to give the champs credit when credit is due.
Yeah. So I think now that I've had a chance to kind of, let go of the anger towards the Warriors for winning that game and just kind of look at it more objectively.
Yeah.
I really don't think that's that bad of a loss as a lot of people are making it. Obviously, you need to win at home. Like, that's probably the main part of it. That's pretty much the only part of that loss that concerns me. But when you look at that third quarter, first of all, this is not anything new. This is where the Warriors have beat teams their entire career.
Yep.
And looking at the overall stats, I mean, the Warriors had 34 assists to the Raptors 17.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yep.
What that tells me is the Raptors got a little rattled by that third quarter stretch and just got away from their offense. And the best way to fix that is to have a good coach, to make adjustments, and to keep them disciplined. Another thing, though, is the Raptors shot absolutely abysmal from the field. Absolutely abysmal. 37 and 28% from three.
Yeah.
Like, that, not only is that terrible, but at the same time, that's not going to happen again. I don't think so, at least.
Yeah.
So, if I'm the Raptors, you should have lost that game probably by 15 to 20. You had no business being in that game. And the Warriors almost gave it up at the end. Let's be honest, Raptors had a really good shot at winning that game.
They really did, yeah.
So, now, I think I liked the Raptors caught on to some good things at the end there. I liked all the attention they were getting, Steph. Don't think you quite need to do a freaking box and one on them, which they're pretty much doing, but I think just treat them the same way as any other team treats a team with pretty much one star.
Yeah.
You just got double teamer. Anytime he's off a screen, you double him, and then you're just going to have to rotate to everyone else. They don't have the shooters they used to have. I mean, they're not going to have freaking Quinn Cook hitting 3 of 5 from 3.
Oh, God.
Klay might not play. Iguodala's not going to shoot 50% from 3 again. Cousins does offer a little bit of a shooting threat. But again, I think if you attack him in the half court, like I remember you said, just attack him in the half court, get him out of the game. I was like, oh, no, you don't need to attack him. Like, whatever, attack Draymond. I think that's a really good point, actually. Because you get Cousins out of the game, now who are they putting in? Freaking Bogut? I know he caught some ridiculous tips, but I don't think that's happening again, right?
And it's like me and you, as much as we can't stand, I mean, we don't know him obviously, but just the fact that he's on the Warriors, Kevin Looney, like he has been like very solid for the Warriors in the past couple finals. Like he's been pretty integral. Like he comes off that bench, he knows his role, exactly what he's supposed to do, how he spaces himself with those guys, to wait on the baseline when Steph or Klay or KD get penetration, so he gets easy dunks and easy layups. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Boogie and Bogut are very capable enough to do that. But that's a big loss for me. To your Game 2 point, there's a note here that I'm reading. Iguodala, his shot that he made with 5 seconds left was the only points that Golden State scored in the final 5:39 of the game.
Yeah.
The final 5:39 of the game. And it pissed me off because, like, Steph was like, oh, you're like, they were playing that janky defense, like, in the postgame review. I was like, bro, it was working. Like, you guys were not scoring. You don't need to guard Iguodala and Draymond. Like you said, they're not going to make, consecutive threes. Obviously, Iguodala can step up and hit a big shot when he's got to. From the wing, that was a huge shot. I mean, if he misses that shot and the game goes a different way, we are talking about Iguodala, what the heck are you doing, bro?
Yeah,
because you're not supposed to shoot the ball there. You either take it to the rim or you wait for the foul. That's
in my opinion, I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, 100%.
I think I'm doing that. So
a lot of people would say that the Warriors dynasty didn't start until the Warriors traded for Iguodala. That was like, I was like, oh my gosh, they got Iggy too for this team? Like, what? Go ahead.
I think also, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that now without Looney and now it's gonna be Bogut and DeMarcus and like I'm watching game 2 and I think you said the assist number was a good point and I want to say the third quarter alone I think the Warriors had like I forget how many buckets it was but almost every single bucket was assisted on.
Yeah, it was like 8.
And yeah, and in the first half the Raptors were zipping the ball around. The ball movement was good. Everybody was touching it. Norman Powell was getting an open look. Mark was getting some looks down low. Danny Green hit a couple shots. And then I think, like you said, they just got a little shook by a quick run, and then they started trying to play hero ball. They're like, Kawhi, take it. Go get us a bucket. Van Vliet, try and get us a bucket. Like, it can't be that. You can't do that. You have to stay – because part of the good ball movement and the half-court offense for the Raptors, it tires out the Warriors on defense.
Yeah.
You have to be able to give and take. You can't just stand around and watch Kawhi dribble the ball and let Klay and Steph catch their breath. I know it sounds stupid, but that's the truth. Keep them moving. And then one other quick point I wanted to make too. I know you mentioned Steph and how you just got to double him when he gets the ball on the high ball screens, which of course they will do. Then you get back quickly. But I think with Van Vliet and Lowry or Green or Powell or whoever's guarding him, I know I'm pretty sure Kobe, they show a little snippet on ESPN of his detail episode, but it's so true. And we talked about it, I want to say, in last episode. Steph without the ball is just as dangerous. And you cannot relax once he passes the ball. Because as soon as he passes the ball, he's moving to another off-ball screen. Or he's just, trying to cut you off and go into the corner where he knows his teammates are going to find him, and that's when he's most lethal because he is one of the best catch and shoot players ever. Not even off the dribble, of course.
I remember what I was going to say before. I think what it might be time for, and I know this is a lot to ask, but this guy's supposed to be the best player in the world. It's time to put Kawhi on Steph. I think it's time. I mean, he's the best player in the world. Everyone's telling me. He's the best defender in the world, everyone's telling me. I get he might be hurt, but it's time to put up, man. I need you to be the best offensive player and the best defensive player. I need that right now.
And I hear you. And you know what? If he gets switched on to Steph, I'm okay with it. But you're asking for so much of a dude where you get primarily your offense from,
I'm asking everything from him. But that's
even though we always thought LeBron was the best player in the world, we're not asking him to try and lock up Steph in those past finals.
In his younger days, he'd guard their best player and he'd be their main offense. And how he'd supplement that is through his playmaking. Now, what I think the biggest thing is, I don't want Kawhi to shoot 20 shots. I want the Raptors to be zipping the ball around. They have the better overall team. You don't need Kawhi to play hero ball like we saw in the third quarter.
And me and you, we also noticed it. The Raptors, understand you're not the Houston Rockets.
No.
You don't need to play like the Warriors. The way you played in Game 1, dominating the paint and putting Pascal in transition, that's how you beat these Warriors. Expose their depth and their big men. Obviously, DeMarcus will be back and is getting more confidence. So, they still have that void there. But, Pascal, you took way too many threes in Game 2. Relax. Just stop with the threes. I get it. Fred was super hot, and Kawhi is a decent 3-point shooter. But there were so many possessions where I was like, "Yo, stop, please!" I'm going to lose my mind.
Listen, there's guys who have the absolute green light to shoot threes. As much as I hate Danny Green lately, he's got a green light.
And
Fred Van Vliet got a green light.
An open look. I got no problem with it.
But Siakam, you're the inside presence. Yeah. Gasol, I like you stretching the floor. We need at least 10 paint points from you. He had 6 points in the last.
Wasn't Mark always a great post scorer?
Great post scorer.
I
don't know what happened.
They need. I think we can transition a little bit to this Game 3 preview. It's going to be tomorrow night in Oracle. KD's out for sure. Looney out for the rest of the finals. Klay is questionable. I guess the MRI came back and says he has a mild hamstring strain, which we know, CP, the hamstrings, those are never fun injuries, especially when the intensity is insane and you really have to be able to go on both sides.
Because he's guarding Kawhi.
Yeah. Basically. And just in the fact that he's one of their best defenders. So still think Klay's gonna play for some reason. I don't know why. I just think he's gonna give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I don't know. I see him playing. Despite all those injuries, despite everything, Golden State is still a 6-point favorite at home. I want to get your opinion on something, and I've been kind of running my head around it. If I'm Toronto, especially now that Looney and KD aren't playing Game 3, I think maybe Game 3 I might want to start Van Vliet. I might start Lowry, Van Vliet, Kawhi, Pascal, Mark. I just think he's been playing so well. Game 2, he played 38 minutes. I mean, that was partly because of Kyle Lowry's foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then give Norman Powell more minutes, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of him. He's moving with the ball. He's a great defender on Steph. A great athlete. Is a capable shooter.
He had the
I
highest
think Nick
plus-minus.
Nurse. I think Nick Nurse is gonna have to make a few. Don't overcompensate. Don't go crazy with the adjustments. But I think he might want to adjust a little bit. And I would strongly think about putting Van Vliet in that starting lineup.
Yeah, I think two things I would say, is one, why'd they stop playing McCaw? McCaw was giving him great minutes.
Yeah, that was weird.
Give him some of Danny Green's minutes. Danny Green does not need to play more than 25 minutes. He can play 20 to 25, depending on how he's playing. Lowry, right around the same range. Van Vliet, probably around 30, depending on how he's doing. But another guy that I think he got a decent amount of minutes, was kind of killing me, but his stats are pretty good, is I think Ibaka needs to eat into Gasol's minutes a little bit.
Yeah.
Gasol's a great defender, and he's great for when Cousins is out there. But when you're trying to go small, especially when Steph is out there moving around and you need switching on all those off-ball screens and everything, I think Ibaka's a little more mobile than Mark is out there.
Yeah.
Great defensive presence, too. Good guard for Draymond, I think. And maybe even could give Siakam a little rest. Because you look at their roster, they don't really have a guy to give.
They don't have another power forward. They really don't.
OG. I mean, realistically, how OG was playing last year, I would like to see them maybe try him.
I was going to say, it'll be interesting to see maybe as an adjustment, he gives a little bit more minutes to OG in Game 3. Just for defense, man. Just an athlete like him out there would be super beneficial.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling, how I was feeling Klay was about to go off.
Yeah.
To be honest, Klay really kept them in that game in Game 2. Steph was not good in the first half. And Doris Burke is now reporting that he's not feeling well and he's taking energy gummies. Bro,
so
you know how many injuries Iguodala probably has, and you don't hear squat about him complaining.
Right now.
Yeah, everybody's banged up, dude. It's the last series. If you ate a little something, you got a little diarrhea, bro. Suck it up, bro. It's the NBA Finals.
Did you see what Kawhi said?
What did he say?
He said, if you can run right now, you can play through the play through the pain.
Yeah. 100%.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was killing me. But I have a feeling for some reason Game 3 we're just gonna have the DeMarcus Cousins game, and it's gonna piss me off. And I'm worried because I don't know how well Mark and Serge and Pascal can match up against DeMarcus, especially if Klay doesn't play. Marcus. If Klay plays, that's another story. I think he'll be a little bit more reserved. But if Klay doesn't play, I mean, Steph's gonna need somebody else to step up. And it's not going to, like you said, it's not going to be Quinn Cook. It's not going to be Alfonso McKinney.
No.
It's not going to be Livingston. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm a little nervous about Marcus because he's getting more comfortable, more game reps,
Mm-hmm.
He's a matchup problem. He hit a couple nice shots.
Think about it. The Raptors match up real well with DeMarcus. On paper. Gasol.
Mark and Serge are just a little weak, I don't know.
Mark, think about it. Mark was the best defender on Joel Embiid this year. Statistically, that it proves it.
Okay.
He locked him up in that series. So if he can guard Joel Embiid, who's probably second best to Nikola Jokic in the league at center, he should be able to 100% lock up DeMarcus.
Yeah. I think we can both agree that Marc Gasol is literally the X factor for the Toronto Raptors.
100%.
I just even need him to be more of the focal point of put him in the high
Yeah.
post
Let
and
him
get more
pass.
action away from him so he's a great passer. I don't need you to be a scorer, but you got to affect the game more than just like tap outs and little,
You just gotta.
little close range makes. Like you got to give me more than that.
They
Mark.
gotta find a
I'm
way to
sorry.
make it easier on Kawhi. That's the bottom line. Gotta make it easier on
Because he's
Kawhi.
playing great.
Playing amazing.
Yeah, he's playing really great. And when he doesn't get the help of like a Pascal game and Van Vliet, Lowry and Mark, you're the starters, you're the veterans. It's your time. We got to get it going. So either way, I'm super excited for Game 3. My Game 3 prediction, I think the Raptors are going to come out and win. I predicted that for Game 2 as well, but I'm kind of under the feeling that Klay is going to play, but I don't know. If he doesn't play, who knows what the hell will happen. It'll just be the classic Steph goes off for 45. I say Toronto wins by like 4 or 5, and then Golden State comes back and wins at home court. I'm starting to lean. I think this series could go the distance, man.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm really starting to lean that way. I didn't think so at first. Obviously, my initial pick was Warriors in 6, but man, I'm leaning towards 7, and it might be a toss-up.
Yeah, honestly, the main thing I've taken away from these two games is it really feels like the Raptors are the better team, but the Warriors are just staying in these games and winning.
So they can always stay in them. Yeah,
pure experience. That's all it is.
Yeah.
They're not as good talent-wise, but they just have so much better experience. It's not even just the amount of years they've been playing. They've been in the finals for so long. They've
5 years.
Yeah, they've just been there, done that every year, man.
Yeah.
So, and it honestly might even be a little bit of a coaching advantage. I know I give Steve Kerr a lot of crap, but it's not even Steve Kerr. It's just that whole Warriors coaching staff is just super veteran, bunch of good minds on that staff. So, got to shout them out a little bit.
Yeah. So, Game 3 tomorrow. It'll be good. I'm hoping Drizzy shows up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Also, shout out Dr. Disrespect. One of my favorite Twitch streamers was in the crowd in Toronto. He obviously is a big Warriors fan, but he obviously wanted to brag on Twitter that whenever he is in attendance, that the Warriors are undefeated. So that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll move on now, man. To of course it's June, so we're getting close. Man, we're getting real close to the draft and off-season drama. But it has been reported today by Mr. Shams. I don't know how to say his last name, but Shams and Woj. Both of them now on competing spectrums of the sports media world. But it's been reported that David Griffin will now start to listen to offers centered around Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
This report coming out a couple days after it was rumored that AD and Griffin met. Me and you have been on the same boat. Just because the Pelicans won the draft lottery, obviously you're getting a transcendent player, talent, superstar potential in Zion Williamson, but it's not going to change what Anthony Davis wants from his career. He's not going to try and, mentor a young kid and try and make him the best he can be. I mean, he's 27, 28, however old he is. He's done the New Orleans thing. He wants to win now.
Yep.
And the rumor is that the 4 teams that are on his wish list are the Lakers, Knicks, Clippers, and yes, the Milwaukee Bucks snuck in on that list, which I found very crazy. All the Twitter people were just saying the 3. They didn't want to put the small market Bucks in there, but I'll get your thoughts on that in a little second. But for me, and I know we've said it, we've talked about it a lot, but it just makes sense for both, man. Like you're getting Zion. You don't want AD taking touches away from Zion. Like you want to blow it up. You want to get more surrounding young players around Zion. Figure out what pieces work with him now, so that 3-4 years from now, when Zion is ready to take on the load of an NBA superstar, you will have a playoff ready team. And New Orleans has other pieces besides AD that they can work well with Zion. Mm-hmm. We can talk about which of those 4 teams have the better package. My New York Knicks have a very intriguing package, obviously with the 3rd pick in the draft. The Lakers have the 4th pick. Mm-hmm. And then the Clippers and Bucks, they have, I guess, some solid players maybe they can put in a package. But to me, it seems like it's going to be the Lakers, Knicks, and also I think the Celtics will still be in the hunt because they still have pieces. Yeah. So your overall thoughts? I know you're on the same boat as me, though.
Yeah. I really, first of all, I don't really think that Milwaukee or the Clippers have any chance at getting him. At least Milwaukee, I don't think really has a shot at all.
Yeah.
I think the draft picks are huge right now in this draft. And I hate to be like that biased Knicks guy, but it really just makes so much sense to trade into the Knicks.
Yep.
I mean,
100%.
I still think, I think me and you disagree about this. I think that the Lakers have a little bit of a better package, not by much,
Yeah.
but just by a little bit. But there's a couple things that they can't compete with the Knicks. First of all, different conference. Teams always prefer to trade to the East from the West, just so they don't have to see the guy every year and be like, damn, wish we still had this guy.
Look at
Basketball.
Kawhi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And Paul George.
Yeah. Paul George is a good example, actually.
Yeah.
The other thing is the optics that the Pelicans could get if they drafted Zion and RJ after they just played together at Duke, just having an absolutely special season, is probably the most exciting thing that will ever happen to the Pelicans franchise. I mean, getting Zion alone is probably the best thing that's ever happened to them.
Yeah.
You got Zion.
Or besides AD, I'd say, yeah.
Now, I think we've talked about this a lot. I don't think RJ wants to go there. Why would you? I don't think Zion wants to go there.
No. You got a choice now.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the Knicks have a very intriguing offer. You hate to see these young guys go, but man, think about the team the Pelicans could put together if they got some of our young guys.
Yeah, no, it would be very. Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson.
Yep.
RJ. Who else?
Knox probably.
Probably Knox.
I would say the Knicks will probably want a package of Knox, Mitchell, and either like Frank or Trier or Dennis Smith, one of those three. Probably I would rather lean towards Frank, the number 3 pick, and maybe one of Dallas's first round picks. Just sweeten the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
And I honestly, as a Knicks fan, I think I'm leaning more towards. I just think it makes sense for the Knicks.
Yeah, I do too.
I would rather, because KD's a freaking weirdo. We never know, but I would rather be sitting July 1st with Mills, Fizdale, Scott Perry, and Anthony Davis, ready, like there at the 100%. Table, and be like, "Yo, KD, bro, it's me and you, dude. Like, we'll make do with what we have, And the Knicks have a great young core. They have some guys they can bring back that you could entertain, trying to re-sign DeAndre. Yep. There's a mid-level exception. You could get a good, a good veteran to come in and replace the rotation. I mean, so if you have a starting lineup of KD, AD, Alonzo Trier and DeAndre, at point guard, you just need a guy that wants to pass the ball. Yeah, and there's tons of those like veteran NBA point guards that just would want to run an offense and can play defense. So I think it would make sense for the Knicks. The Lakers package, I mean, it'll be good, but the distinction between the 3rd and 4th pick, like we've talked about, is huge. If the Lakers had a better pick, they would definitely be in the hunt. Lonzo and Ingram, their health is really a major concern, and I don't know if the Pelicans would even want to entertain that. And like you said, I mean, if it's this close to where you're like, maybe it's a little bit better, but they're in the West. All this stupid drama and all this crap that has happened. Like, you don't want... You're the Pelicans. That's the last thing you want.
I don't really know if it makes... I think it makes less sense for the Lakers to make that trade than it does for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because for the Knicks, yes, we have a really nice young core, but our best prospect is probably Mitchell Robinson, right? Mm-hmm. And you can't really start a franchise around a young center like that.
Unless it's like a Joel or Jokic type of talent, which he's not.
Mitchell Robinson probably won't be that. He can be. Yeah. He'll have a huge impact on a good team, but he's not going to be the focal point of that offense.
Yeah.
For the Lakers, those guys are great complementary pieces to a really good team. You know what I mean? Like, missing those 3 guys is such a gap in your team. It's hard to fill all those spots with, just picking people up on the offseason. I've said, I think it's a really valuable thing to have organic talent that you don't have to worry about giving them money. When are they leaving? you can just give him that homegrown money and, fill around it. So I think it's better for the Lakers to kind of stay away from that, maybe look towards a Beal trade or just stick to what they have and add some guys in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, and back for the Pelicans viewpoint, I mean, even if they do get the Knicks number 3 pick, I mean, it's most likely RJ, but like we've heard rumblings, like you never know, you could get lucky and get Ja. And if you pair Ja and Zion together, oh my goodness, like that is a future.
That's the other thing too.
That's a future everybody can get behind.
Yeah.
You know?
The other thing is, if you say you did the Lonzo, Kuzma, Ingram trade for the Pelicans, those guys would be taking minutes away from Zion.
I agree, and
right?
I don't think
like Ingram
they fit,
and Kuzma.
really. I don't know if they necessarily... Lonzo, I mean, I love with him, but Ingram and Kuzma, they need the ball, pretty much. Yeah. Kuzma not really, but Ingram needs the ball, and I just want Zion to have the ball in his hands every possession his rookie year. Like, that's it. There's no excuse. Or, just flying above the rim and Lonzo pots and lobs. So, I don't know. I'm going
to sit back and cross my fingers and just pray to the gods that our years of despair have been leading up to this.
I'm leaning a lot towards it. I love the upside of Knox and Mitchell. If we can keep Dennis Smith, I would love it. Because then if we could have like Dennis Smith, KD, and AD, that's legit. And Dennis Smith is still young. Like that is a legit 3. We have some young pieces. We still have a 2nd round pick. We can draft another prospect. You can fill out the bench. Like they'd be able to figure it out. Yep. So I think he gets moved draft day, man. I really do. We've seen it with was Paul George traded on draft night? I think he was.
No, he wasn't.
No, okay. Well, this after the fact with the draft picks going out, but we've seen it with Jimmy Butler. We've seen it a couple times now. So I'm I don't know. Draft night's gonna be good, but we shall see. Other offseason drama. Quick note. It is apparently sources are coming out, and apparently now it's Kyrie is 75%. Sure that he's going to be a Brooklyn Net. And the rumor is that a lot of teams are going to go after D'Angelo Russell if that's the case. I've heard the Miami Heat. I've heard the Timberwolves, which I actually really, really like. The Jazz, a couple other teams. Does this make sense for the Nets? Obviously, Kyrie is an all-star in this league. D'Angelo probably should have been an all-star. Was he an all-star?
I think he, someone got hurt. I think he sneaked out.
Yeah. So I mean,
Oladipo got hurt. That's why.
Both at this point, both all-star guards in the East. Maybe not out west, but that's a different story. Kyrie's injury prone, not the best leader. D'Angelo was a pretty good leader this year and had a career year. I mean, I'm kind of torn. I think if you can subtract D'Lo and add Kyrie to that team, I think it does make them better. But I don't know, man. They were starting to flow pretty well, and they were like one piece away.
Yep. I have very strong feelings on this. Not only do I think this is a really dumb decision for the Nets, I think it's a really dumb decision for Kyrie, too.
Yeah.
I'll talk about for the Nets. I think the best thing the Nets had going all year was their chemistry.
Yep.
Easily, everyone says they have the best bench / best chemistry in the league. Why would you ever ruin that, man? Everyone on that team was speaking so highly of D'Angelo that he was their guy. He's clearly grown up from when he was on the Lakers.
On his shoulders, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the best thing for him. I think he's only going to get better, which is the crazy. He's so young. So if the Nets get rid of D'Angelo Russell, who I think is the prototypical point guard of the future, just a 6'5" bucket getter who can still play make, to Kyrie, who, like you said, not a great leader, injury prone, older, smaller. Like, it would just be disastrous for the Nets, I think. Everyone was a little shaky about him. He already kind of has a weird reputation in the league. And for Kyrie,
you're going to leave Boston?
How is this better than Boston?
Yeah.
In what world is this team?
Closer to home. That's it.
They're a young team. They're developing.
I completely agree with all your sense. I completely agree with all your points. I've told you, I think the Nets should. They have a lot of cap space with all these guys on their rookie deals. LeVert, D'Angelo. Well, D'Angelo they're gonna have to resign, but LeVert and Jared Allen and Joe Harris and all these solid players. I would throw a 3-4 year deal at Middleton or Tobias or someone like that can come in, give you good energy on both ends, and can be a supplemental scorer.
Exactly. Just
D'Lo as your focal point, it showed what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a good point you said, D'Angelo is so unselfish. Like, he's such a gifted scorer, but even since the Montverde and the Ohio State days, like, he was a great passer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a very, very good passer in college, and even on LA, he was a good passer. He got a little 3 happy there. But yeah, I'm honestly hoping that, like, maybe Kyrie is taking the whole Brooklyn to New York rivalry, like, serious, and he's like, like, I'm just gonna start leaking crap, like, yeah, I'm going to Brooklyn, sure, and psych, and he's like, nah, I'm going with my boy KD to New York, and that would be, I would love that. I mean, I'm
gonna be honest,
because why would you, if KD is going to New York, why would you go to Brooklyn when you're best friends with KD, bro? And there's 2 max slots. All-Star Weekend, 2. He held up the 2. There's 2 max slots, boy.
I really think, though, I know you don't want to hear this. I'm like almost. I'm not gonna say that. But if I had to bet on it, I'd say he ends up in the Lakers with Jimmy Butler. That's my guess because it makes so much sense for him. Much sense.
This is my thing, though. This is my thing. He did. I've said it many times. He's been there, done that. He did the LeBron thing. He's grateful it happened. He respects him. He apologizes how it unfolded. Mm-hmm. If you have the chance now to go out west into LA and play with an older LeBron, who's probably going to ask a lot more of you. I guess if Jimmy goes, I don't think they can get both of them cap wise, but maybe they trade some people free up. They can get it.
Yeah.
KD is arguably, if not the best player in the world right now when healthy. You know, right below LeBron. Whatever, you can nitpick at it. Like, you're closer to home in New York. You're still in the East, so you don't have to compete with other teams out west, the tougher conference. I just think, like, KD being the number 1 guy, Kyrie is super comfortable being the second option. And I think when he did it with Bron, it's like, yo, like, I don't know if it was Bron himself or just the media, like, he didn't feel appreciated, but I feel like he would much rather start something new with, I guess, one of his boys, KD, than go play for the guy that was just always taking the shadows from him. And it would be different. It would be, out in LA, it would still be the LeBron show. Whereas in New York with the media, yeah, it'd be, a lot of KD, but man, it's KD and Kyrie coming together, going to the same place and teaming up.
That sounds great, but I think the biggest takeaway...
Kind of like LeBron and Wade.
I think the biggest takeaway from him saying the Nets and the Lakers are my only 2 I'm considering is...
But do we know that's what he's saying?
No, we never know.
That's the thing.
But, I mean, like, do we really know what Davis's targets are? Like, probably. We probably know what they want. And I think maybe that just might be Kyrie kind of telling KD, like, I'm not really coming. I don't really want to go with you. Which I don't honestly think is that bad. I don't think it's the worst thing. There's only so much ball to go around when you got KD and AD on the same team, hopefully. So...
I hear you.
And I disagree with you on the point that if he went to LA with an older LeBron, that works to Kyrie's advantage. I really guarantee you when LeBron's sitting down with these free agents this summer, he's saying, listen, I'm getting older. I love passing the ball. We have another guy, Lonzo Ball, who loves passing the ball. We need offense. You're an offensive player.
Is Kyrie necessarily the best fit with that, though? He needs the ball.
I think Lonzo would be a great supplement to him. He can let him do him. Maybe he doesn't really want to be a point guard.
Lonzo's just going to stand around,
If Lonzo can just spot up, shoot threes, and play his defense, that's all I need from Lonzo. Lonzo can have a Draymond-like role. He doesn't necessarily need to start at point guard. Like I've been telling you, the 2-guard line, I mean, he's 6'6". You know what I mean? He can play 1 through 3. So
I don't know. I don't know.
LeBron, I think, which I think a lot of people disagree with me on this, which makes no sense to me, but I think the more talent, the better with LeBron. Because he's such a great playmaker that he can get everyone else involved. And then when that happens, it's a one-on-one with LeBron against whoever he's going against. That's a bucket every time.
I hear you. I don't know. I think even from the Lakers standpoint, I wouldn't even target Kyrie that seriously. He would probably be my 3rd, 4th option in free agency. I just think even especially if you keep the 4th pick and you get a guard like Garland or Reddish or whoever, I don't know. I
I
just
don't
don't know
think
if
they
it
need
makes
him.
sense.
I don't think they need him. I think I'd much rather just get Jimmy and move on. But I would not argue with it because if there's one guy who knows how to deal with Kyrie, it's LeBron.
I would rather if it came down to signing Kyrie or nobody for the Lakers, I would honestly I don't think I would sign Kyrie.
I
And
might
I
agree.
know that's crazy
No, I might agree.
because you get that draft pick in, you run it back, get healthy, get some different 1 year deals, restructure the roster just a little bit, and then you go after AD in free agency.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see.
It,
The
it's weird though.
rumblings are coming, but
It doesn't feel like Kyrie fits on any team. It really does.
like I
Maybe the
won't.
Knicks might be best.
I still think he could play the D'Angelo role very well. I still think he could on Brooklyn, but in my opinion, like you said,
Concept just doesn't
when
make
you
sense.
have KD, an 85% lock to go to New York with the possibility of getting AD, why not go to New York, the bigger market? Your dad was a Knicks fan all his life. You grew up, the Mecca, bro. Like if you want to go to Brooklyn and prove something there by yourself, and that's what kind of Kobe's challenging you, like. You went to Boston with Gordon Hayward, like I get it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see, but
We'll see.
a lot of off-season drama, and I cannot wait for it to be July or June 30th now, 6 p.m. it starts. So that's it for the off-season drama. But we'll do. I'm gonna call. We'll just call this little segment because I've been bringing it up a lot. We'll call around NBA Twitter. You like that?
I like that.
I see a lot of things on Twitter. It's the best app in the world, and a lot of NBA Twitter questions always pop up. And I saw another intriguing one. And this was, give me the name of one of the best, NBA players that people right now have forgotten about. There's a lot of underrated players in NBA history. A lot of players recently that just because of injuries or just being on the wrong teams, they never really got the shine of some of these, stars that go down in history and always in people's minds. So I'm going to start with one that I know you'll be a fan of because he was always my boy. I always had his jersey.
Oh, I think I know.
He was very still one of the most clutch dudes, man, in the league. Joey Crack, Joe Johnson was one of my favorite players. He had so much potential. When he was on those Hawks teams, he just had to go up against LeBron. So that was and the Celtics and some of those older teams. But Joe Johnson was a very gifted scorer, a strong, like 6'8", like 240, like a beast, like athletically. Never got much success with Atlanta. Had some success with Brooklyn when he got traded, and then he just kind of faded out and did his thing. Obviously he was a pretty good player on Phoenix as well. But I loved me some Joey Johnson, and that ATL dark blue jersey I have is still one of my favorite jerseys that I've owned. So. That's one guy that I know. Like some people are like, oh, like literally when you say the name, you're like, oh yeah, like for sure, like he was a baller, So that's my first one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with one. I took this more in the scope of all-time players that people kind of gloss over.
Yeah.
And this one really just doesn't make sense to me, but it's so funny because everybody predicted it. Literally, the moment he retired, everybody predicted this would happen. And that's Timmy Duncan.
Oh, yeah?
Every single person has forgotten about the greatness of this man.
Yeah.
He was the reason why every big man in the league had to develop a little mid-range jump shot.
The big fundamental, man.
He had every single move in the book, man.
Oh, yeah.
His bank I think he might have had the greatest bank shot of all time.
He would bank shot
from the elbow every single time.
Yeah.
And he just had every hook. He had floaters. He could pass the ball like Jokic. I mean, it definitely helped. He had one of the greatest coaches of all time and one of the greatest supporting casts. But
yeah, but that, we all know that's like a give and take.
Right. But unarguably, in my opinion, the best power forward of all time. And, just put some respect on that man's name.
Yeah, and nobody talks about him because he's not flashy. He's not in the media now or whatever. Like, yeah, no, that's a good one. I got two from the same team that a lot of people don't talk about. And one's a guard, one's a big man. In the last 10, 15 years, they were successful. In the East, let me get one guess from you.
In the East?
They were in the East together, yeah. They won a championship.
They won a championship.
Yes, sir. Nobody talks about them. Both of these players.
Can I guess both?
Sure.
Chauncey and Ben Wallace?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I was going to mention that.
both all-time players. Like Chauncey's not as forgotten as much because he's such a good contributor to ESPN and has been linked with a lot of management jobs. So Chauncey not really forgotten about, but still, people do not give Chauncey enough credit for being clutch, Mr. Big Shot, and just an overall great guard. But Ben Wallace, bro, like one of the best defensive players of all time, no question.
If not the.
Yeah, no question. Got was defensive player of the year, I'm pretty sure, and
MVP.
nobody talks about him. I could also talk about the other Wallace, Rashid, because a lot of people don't talk about him. But yeah, those two nobody talk about enough because they played for D-Town and they won a championship. And it's gonna be like, it's funny because our generation has those Pistons, and then our parents' generation's got the bad boy Pistons. So it's kind of cool how we each got our like different versions of the Pistons.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I had a good one. Oh yeah. So this is one where I feel like people don't really forget about his name, but people forget how good he was, man. And he was in the West, and he's a big guy.
In the West, big guy. Older or relatively recent?
Within the last 20 years.
Stat?
Stat's a good one, but no.
The Admiral? David Robinson?
No. Yao Ming.
Oh,
Ming Yao.
That's a great one.
This man, I feel like people just remember him as one of those really tall guys in the NBA, which is such disrespect to this man's game.
Yeah.
When he was at his peak on those Rockets teams, him and Shaq, I'll give him that, they were just absolutely unguardable.
Yeah.
It was insane. You'd watch Yao Ming play, you'd be like, oh my God, he has a mid-range jump shot, a jump hook.
Could swat anything.
6. He was blocking everybody, and he was like 300 pounds. He might be the original unfair 2K player. Because you could get a bucket with him every single possession. Yeah.
And also, to your point, like, the only guy to really give Shaq problems was Yao, man. Like,
Absolutely.
Shaq hated playing against him.
Shaq says that all the time, man.
And I know I've seen things like on 30 for 30s and whatnot about Yao or just documentaries, whatever. But the fundamentals, like you said, that he had for a guy of his size was unheard of.
And I'm pretty sure
there's always been players that have been enormous and just have done a lot.
I mean, obviously Shaq done, but Shaq was a 50% free throw shooter.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw something that if Shaq had hit, I think it was 70% of his foul shots, he'd be like a top 5 scorer of all time. Yeah. And that was the other crazy thing about Yao is he was like an 80% shooter from the line. It was crazy.
Yeah. So I got 2 more. I'll give you both of them quick because both of these guys didn't really have, success. I mean, they definitely did. They were extremely good NBA players that people kind of took for granted in my eyes. Mm-hmm. Later on in their careers, we probably both called them bums, I'll be honest. But in their heyday, these were both solid players. And that's what I kind of took with this. Like, nobody talks about these guys anymore. Mm-hmm. First one, I know you'll agree with me, but Gerald Wallace.
Gerald Wallace.
In his day, was a lockdown defender, a pretty decent three-point shooter, and a freaking athlete, I remember some yams. Yeah. Some yams by Gerald. When it kind of stinks because a lot of these guys, when we were really getting into the league, they were leaving. They were leaving the league. They were getting old, and that's just how it goes. But now we got, we're historians of the league now, which is kind of cool. So Gerald was a good one for me. He was always like, I feel like he was the type of dude that, like, if Kobe or LeBron or, Paul Pierce or whoever in their day was, like, going in a regular season game and they were like, oh, crap, fucking, it's Gerald, man. Like, it's going to be a tough night. He going to D me up, And then my second, I don't know if you'll agree, but this man was kind of a bucket before he got, like, old and kind of a bum. Antoine Jameson, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the dude was a problem. He was like the start, kind of like the stretch 4.
Yep.
especially on the Warriors and Wizards, he was nice with it. When he was on the Cavs and stuff, he was starting to get a little older. But, he would still contribute to Bron on a couple of those teams, right? So, those two, like, nobody will talk about them,
No.
but they weren't necessarily, like, all-stars in the league, but they were still very good, I would say above average NBA players for the majority of their career.
All right, I got two last ones.
All right.
Two last ones. I'll kind of play more off the underrated one, but
yeah.
First one's a little more obvious, I'd say, and that's Baron Davis.
Ooh, that's
Baron
a good
Davis,
one.
Speed Diddy.
Yeah, that's a good
This
one.
man was like, he was pretty much D Rose before D Rose was in the league.
Yeah.
This dude would just dunk on people, angry yams too, and he was a little pudgy.
Yeah,
he wasn't the skinniest in the world. He could shoot a little bit. Had the handle on a
the
string.
handle,
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness.
And he was one of those first guards that would just bully smaller guards.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be like, "Yo, I'm
Great.
bigger than you," like you said, a little pudgy, but man, like, yeah.
And my second guy, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but he was on those Hawk teams.
Marvin Williams?
Jay Smooth.
Oh, Josh Smith.
Wow,
what a
in
blast.
His athletic prime
bro.
Was one of the freakiest athletes I've ever seen, bro.
Yeah.
This dude, his tomahawks are absolutely legendary. I'm watching highlights of him as we speak. And he would just sky over people, head at the rim.
Came right out of high school, right?
He really would dunk like Zion. It was really crazy. And he could shoot the ball a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of went out bad, too. That was the thing. I completely agree with you, though. He was a problem, man. And if his shot was hitting, he was very hard to guard.
Absolutely.
It was just some nights it really wasn't hitting, and then he just get locked up. But yeah, that's a good one. Another point guard, real quick, that I know we not really forgotten about, but the franchise. You can never go wrong with Stevie Francis.
Mm-hmm.
Like same with B Diddy in that same era of just like stupid athletes. Stephon Marbury too could probably be there. Super athletic guards that could just score the rock at will. So yeah, man, that's a cool segment. I'll try and keep that going because I just always see those interesting questions pop up on Twitter, NBA Twitter, of course, and a lot of people. I'm trying to think of like other people. I think some people said like Marcus Camby was a good one. Mm-hmm. Other than that, like it was more like the older players, like Grant Hill was underrated. Dominique, not a lot of people talk about, but those guys, the real basketball historians are like, come on, like of course those dudes will be up there. But yeah, do we got any shout outs for the last thing? I don't know if I guess I have a shout out for President Barack for showing up in the six, showing some love. He got a standing ovation in the crowd. Man, Barack, I miss you dearly. I wish we could have somebody like you representing the country the way you do. Aside from all the political BS, you're just a good staple of representing America. Yeah. And I like to think he was telling Adam Silver, like, hey, when I was in office, man, I mean, the teams were coming to the White House. You know what I'm saying? Like they were coming and stuff. But and then a quick shout out to I thought it was kind of funny, Klay in the tunnel after game. He was like, "Hey, yo, see you in the Bay, Aubrey." He's like, "Bum, what do you say, bum ass or something?" Yeah. That was pretty funny. I'll give a shout out to Klay there. It was funny.
I'm gonna give a shout out. It's a little out there, but I'm gonna give a shout out to Trae Young real quick. I saw him.
Trae.
Oh yeah, Ice Trae, baby. I saw a video of him working with Steve Nash.
Yes.
And that is beautiful to see because he is literally just the modern day version of Steve Nash. So very good to see that.
He's got flashier handle and at least like better. I'd say better mechanics as a shooter.
Yeah,
quicker. Steve Nash don't get me wrong. Steve Nash got the strap in his day, but it took a little bit for him to be knocked down from three to like the Phoenix years. But yeah,
I don't know if anyone will ever have a better floater than Steve Nash.
Yeah, true. And your boy, Coach Ian, man, he always says it. I remember being in like a hoop heaven practice, and somebody asked Coach Ian. They were like, "Yo, Ian, who do you think's the best player in the league right now? Like LeBron or Kobe?" And he's like, "Dude, Steve Nash." Mm-hmm. It's like a guy his size, his height, white dude, MVP of the league. Like it's unheard of. Like that dude. Yeah, always one of my favorite players growing up. That's a very good. The things that he could probably be telling Trae. Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right. Well, game 3. Your prediction for game 3 again, one more time.
I'm gonna say Raptors by like 6.
All right, so we're both going Raptors. You think they adjust well, yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Alright.
I'm gonna have faith.
It seems to be KD is progressing pretty well, but he's not going to play in Game 3. But I'd not be shocked if he's back by Game 4.
Hey, listen, you just gotta break. You gotta be better than have a winning record in the games that Durant's not playing, and that's all.
Oh, it's going to be good. All right, man. Until next time, hopefully when we talk, the Raptors are on their way, man.
All right, let's get
Right
it.
to the 6, guys.